Joining us now to discuss House Majority Leader and Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise. Great to see you, Congressman. Your reaction to what Sean was asking.
Yeah, well, Degan and Sean, great to be with you on the new show, by the way. Congratulations. And yeah, it seems like, you're seeing these classified documents pop up all over. I was especially concerned when, you saw for months the press and President Biden going after Donald Trump when everybody knew previous presidents have had classified documents. They obviously talk with archives to make sure how to properly store them. I don't think many people realized how many former vice presidents had classified documents. But it seems like Joe Biden even had documents going back to when he was a senator. I'd like to hear an explanation for that, by the way. But you would like to think that there's somebody that's in charge of this.
Congressman, you've been in the SCIF, right? You can't get documents out of a SCIF. I mean, it's impossible that you could get them out. I mean, that's a confusing point, right?
With you. Yeah, Sean, because you've been in those classified briefing rooms as well. And there's somebody there with the classified documents. They either let you read through them. They can be there to talk through some of the issues with you as well. But then at the end of that meeting, you're giving those documents to that person. You're not in possession of them when you leave. And then you go out, you have to leave your phone outside. You have to, even if you have an Apple Watch, you have to leave all that outside when you get into that classified setting. So there's a chain of custody. I'd like to see what that chain of custody has been like with some of these other documents.
Yeah, listen, I agree. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to jump on you and ask this next question because I want to know what the debt limit debates that are going on in Congress. Will you guys be able to leverage spending cuts, Congressman, in this negotiation? You have Joe Biden out there saying, listen, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to negotiate with you. And you guys are like, listen, we've spent trillions of dollars. There's got to be some room there to negotiate. How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, and President Biden has to stop acting like this is some childish exercise. I mean, we're talking about an increase in our nation's debt. It doesn't just happen in a vacuum. The president doesn't just go, give me more money to spend. I mean, the reason that you hit the debt ceiling is because Washington already spent too much money. Right. It's literally like a credit card limit. And if you hit that limit, you don't just say, hey, how much more money do you want to go spend? You have a conversation, an adult conversation. I was in a meeting with Speaker McCarthy and the rest of our leadership team this morning, talking about things that need to happen to get better control over spending so we don't keep hitting the debt ceiling and having the president try to create these artificial crises. By the way, the president needs to stop threatening Social Security and threatening the default on our debt. I mean, even today, we're taking in $1 and spending $1.29. The government is spending more money than it takes in, but it's still taking in money. Why is the first thing that President Biden wants to cut is Social Security or repayment of debts? At the same time, we need to have an adult conversation how to get control over spending. Families do this every day. This is not some new idea. Right. So President Biden needs to meet with Speaker McCarthy and have this conversation.
Well, there's $5 billion every month that's not coming into the Treasury because of the moratorium on making student loan payments. And that is firmly on the shoulders of Joe Biden. So maybe we wouldn't be under such duress.
And there's a lot of other ludicrous things like that, Degan. I mean, look at the hundreds of billions of dollars in fraudulent payments during COVID. Today, that's still going on, by the way. We're still operating under a COVID emergency when everyone else has gotten back to work, and that's causing hundreds of billions of dollars in more wasteful spending. Let's get control over spending. I think everybody in America knows that if the federal government just looked around and said, okay, where can we tighten the belt before we go max out and then add more money to the credit card limit and then rack it up again.
Claw that money back, Congressman, right? Claw the money back that hasn't been spent. It's like it's not there's
return
a new
that money to
there.
the taxpayers.
Bring it back to us.
Let's pay down our debt.
I want to ask you quickly. There's a report in Axios, and Republicans have talked to me about this as well. President Biden's going to deliver a major economic speech this week, hammering House Republicans about the plan to at least vote on a bill from Congressman Buddy Carter. It's to abolish the IRS and replace it with a national sales tax. And I had a very prominent Republican email me, and he himself referred to it as, at a time when people are burdened by inflation, he called it political suicide. Are you going to vote on this? And if yes,
well, this bill's in
why?
committee. Well, first of all, this bill's in committee. A lot of members file bills. I will tell you what our position is. And in fact, we ran on this. And President Biden, I'm sure he didn't read the Commitment to America, but a lot of people did. And one of the things we said we would do is make the Trump tax cuts permanent. That's our position as a conference on how to actually get our economy back on track, removing that uncertainty. 100 people can file 100 bills that go to committee, but the bill that we said we want to come out of committee is the bill to make the tax cuts permanent. Jason Smith is the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. By the way, he said that's a top priority of his too. And so why don't we focus on what's working and go? By the way, President Biden still wants to get rid of the Trump tax cuts that actually created more wealth for low and middle income families and rebuilt our middle class. Biden's wrong on this.
Are you not going to vote on Buddy Carter's bill, the Congressman Carter's bill?
Well, it's in committee, and I think, as Sean knows, with regular order, which we're going back to, committees do this work. And if the committee takes it up, I don't know if they've scheduled a date for it.
Steve, we've been fighting about this.
Whether it passes or fails.
Dagan and I have been fighting about this for 2 days now. Listen, I like a flat tax. If you get rid of the income tax and we have a consumption tax that incentivizes savings, that's a great idea. Right, it's basically a flat tax.
Yeah, look, I like a simplified tax code.
And that's what this would be.
We took big steps, by the way, to get there with the Trump tax cuts, and they worked incredibly well. Every income group did better after that. And by the way, Biden wants to get rid of that. Biden wants to raise your taxes, and Biden's already raised your taxes. Just in this last bill, $1.7 trillion. I mean, they keep raising taxes and raising spending, and that's what's tanking the economy. And then he wants to blame Republicans. Give me a break.
Leader Scalise, by the way, that has a nice ring to it. House Majority Leader Scalise, thanks for joining us. By the way, this was night 2, and you're our first guest of our new show. Thank you so much, my man.
Y'all are off to a great start.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing y'all again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.